Senator Marco Rubio last night after his Super Tuesday win in the state of Minnesota, his first win of the campaign. Joining me now, Florida Senator and presidential candidate Marco Rubio. Senator, good morning. Good to have you with us this morning.
Good morning.
So
Thank you.
We heard what you were saying there, and it's true. Just 5 days ago, you began a campaign against Donald Trump that, includes calling him a con artist, and there are some indications in some of the numbers that we saw last night that some of that may be sinking in with voters out there. I guess the first question is, why did it start just 5 days ago?
Well, look, I had a hope that this would take its own course. I think, like many of us, I thought eventually Donald Trump would be exposed by the media and others. Unfortunately, I think he's gotten a real pass in the media over the last few months. You had CBS come out and say they love Donald Trump because he's good for ratings. But it's definitely having an impact. Look, 65% of the people who voted yesterday across Super Tuesday did not vote for Donald Trump. He underperformed in virtually every state on the map. And by the way, let's not forget that last night was supposed to be Ted Cruz's big night. It was the night where he was going to sweep. These states were tailor-made for the kind of campaign he was running. We beat him in Georgia. We beat him in over half the states were on the map. We got our first win in Minnesota. We picked up what we believe will be over 100 delegates. It now has us in a significant count. Look, Florida's going to be huge, obviously. It's my home state, and we feel good about it. But if this was anybody else as a front runner, there'd be people right now saying, let's all rally around the front runner. That will never happen with Donald Trump. On the contrary, what you're hearing now is, how do we prevent the party of Reagan and Lincoln from being taken over by someone who for days refused to condemn the Ku Klux Klan, and someone who, quite frankly, is carrying out the most elaborate con job we've ever seen in politics. And as it's being exposed, I think you're starting to see him run into headwinds. Look at what happened in Virginia.
All right. I mean, we are going to happen in Virginia. Let's put up the total delegate count right now because, as you pointed out, it has just updated, and we will continue to update. And these are the new numbers as we see them. You've got Donald Trump now with 316. Many people said if he made it over 300, he was going to be very difficult to take down in this race. Cruz is now at 226. You are at 106 on that delegate count. And let's take a look at Virginia, too, because Virginia was the big story that you talked about last night in terms of how much you accelerated your campaign in Virginia. You are only one delegate away from him in Virginia, and there's a lot of discussion that if John Kasich hadn't been in the race, you would have won it. But I guess it begs the question, is that a viable excuse at this point? I mean, if you change around a lot of things, things would be different. But this is the way it looks.
Well, no, that's right. And you got to deal with what you have. And so it is what it is. I mean, we're one delegate shy in Virginia. I think the broader point is the states that are on the map now moving forward, do they look more like Virginia or more like some of the other states we saw last night? I think the answer is they look more like Virginia. And so we feel good about that. Some of these states are going to award all their delegates. Florida has 99 delegates. So if I win Florida, what does that math look like tonight? Obviously, Ohio's still there, but there's a big other states. Illinois is a big delegate-rich state. So we just feel very optimistic. Last night was not supposed to be my night. I never said Super Tuesday was going to be our big night. We wanted to do well. We wanted to pick up a lot of delegates. But we understood that other campaigns had spent a lot more time and money in some of these states. And I think that was reflected in Georgia, a state where Ted Cruz badly outspent us. We beat Ted Cruz last night.
If that's the case, just given what's happened and given the momentum and given the psychology of this race right now, I mean, you will absolutely, obviously, have to win Florida, which you have guaranteed that you can do.
That's correct.
The polling, there are polls that show you down by about 19 points from Donald Trump, and I know your polling is looking better than that. But can you guarantee that you'll win Florida? And what's your path to making up all that lost territory there?
Well, first of all, I don't believe it's that lost territory. Florida is a unique place to poll for a bunch of different reasons, including a significant number of Republican voters in South Florida who get the majority of their information in Spanish. Cuban American Republicans is over 10% of the whole electorate. But beyond that, look, Florida, those are not accurate numbers, as you've seen. We have our own numbers. I think we'll see other numbers here soon that will show the same. It's going to be close. There's no doubt about it. But we know how to win in Florida, and we will, especially once Donald Trump is exposed for what he's doing now. Look, Donald Trump is a guy who says he's going to take on illegal immigration and bring jobs back to China. He makes all the Donald J. Trump clothing is made in China and in Mexico. He could bring jobs back right now by saying that from now on, all that clothes will be made in America. What he's done with his life and his business does not match up with the rhetoric he's using in this campaign. And I think that's very much like what he did with Trump University, where he promised people they were going to get this wonderful education that would lead to success in business, and the only thing they got was $36,000 of debt in many cases, and nothing but a picture with him, a cardboard cutout picture of Donald Trump. As he's being exposed, his numbers are coming down. Virginia is a good example of that.
All right. Rick Scott, everybody thought he was going to endorse Donald Trump last night. Is there something in the wind there? Is he potentially going to endorse you instead?
Well, look, we would love to have his endorsement. I have a lot of respect for him. I don't know what he's going to do at the end of the day. I think it would be an important endorsement. I don't think it would decide the election, but certainly a governor of a state like Florida, it's impactful. And we'd love to have his endorsement. I'm not sure what he's going to do. You'll have to ask him about that. But in the end, it's not, we're going to continue to campaign hard here. We feel good. Donald has a significant presence in Florida. He owns property here. He spends every weekend here during the winter. And people are watching the national coverage, and it has an impact in Florida. But we feel very strongly about what we're going to do in Florida and very optimistic. And if we win Florida, all of this we're talking about today doesn't matter. I think the bottom line from last night is it was supposed to be Ted Cruz's night. It was not. Donald Trump, 65% of the people who voted against him, and that's the problem he has. He can never bring this party together. There will never be a time when our supporters are asking us to make way for Donald Trump.
In the time that we have left, there's a report out this morning that says that you and your campaign and your donors are saying that there's a scenario where Donald Trump, continues this march, but that you have the ability to basically keep him down through attrition in delegates and starve him of the delegates that he would need to get over that 1237. Is that a scenario that you are committed to seeing play out? Are you absolutely committed to staying in this through Cleveland and forcing that in any way, shape, or form if it's in your ability?
Yeah, first, what I've said is we're going to campaign in all 50 states, and we're going to do whatever it takes to ensure not only that I'm the nominee, but that the Republican Party does not fall in the hands of someone like Donald Trump. That said, that's not our plan. Our plan is to get to 1,237 delegates. Look, that's a tough thing to do for anybody in this race, not just for me, for Donald Trump and for Ted Cruz. It's a very unusual election cycle. We all know that. But look, I ask people to go on our website, marcorubio.com, sign up to our effort, because we can do this and we will do this. No one will work harder than me.
We're up against a hard break. Senator, thank you very much. We'll talk again soon.
Thanks.
Appreciate it. We'll be right back with more.